You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the first part of What If Deku Meets Static Shock and Powerpuff Girls. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Many Dragon 5 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Very loud sounds. All Might's buff form, talking. Electronic, talking. Big electronic, talking. Special attacks, locations and time of day. It all started a long time ago in Quirk, China. A baby was born with the ability to create light within its body. The luminescent baby was the nickname people gave the child. Not too long after that, more and more people were born with different abilities. These abilities are called quirks. As of now, the population of the planet is 60% with quirks and 40% without. And thanks to their quirks, people had the power to become superheroes. They could do all the things that their favorite comic book heroes could do. But this also meant that people could become villains, or show just how much more of a monster than human they can truly be. But this story is not about the history of this world. No. This story is about a group of teens that want to be the next greatest heroes and heroines in the world. This is their story. Will they be able to follow their dreams and maybe go beyond? Let's find out. Plus Ultra. Inside of a room inside of an apartment building in Shizuoka Prefecture, Japan. 6:59 in the morning. Inside of his bedroom, a 14-year-old boy is sound asleep under his white covers. A little bit away from the bed he is sleeping on is his desk. On top of it rests his computer, a shelf full of books above it and his phone next to the mouse. The phone's alarm then goes off loudly, with what sounds like victory music from a video game. This wakes up the teen boy, who gets out of bed with his eyes half open and tiredly walks up to his phone. He yawns as he taps his phone's screen with his right index finger to stop the alarm. The teen stands 5 feet, 5 inches tall with peach skin, dark green messy, spiky hair with black highlights, green eyes, freckles on his cheeks and thin lips. He has a slim body shape with slim arms, big hands, slim fingers, slim waistline, narrow hips, slim butt, slim legs and big feet. He is wearing a white t-shirt, green boxers and white socks. He picks up his phone with his right hand and taps the screen with his thumb. He looks down at the screen, seeing that it's now 7 o'clock in the morning. Well, I better get ready for school. He then walks out of his room. 15 minutes later. The teen boy's door opens again as he walks out of his room once more. But he is now wearing a black button-up shirt with yellow buttons, black pants, red boots and a brown backpack on his back. He walks into the apartment's living room and sees a short woman standing in the small kitchen. Even though she has her back to him, he still gives the woman a warm smile. The 40-year-old woman stands 5 feet, 3 inches tall with peach skin, short green hair with 2 bangs framing her face, a small ponytail high on the back of her head, green eyes and thin lips. She has a rounded body shape with rounded arms, small hands, slim fingers, D-cup melons, rounded waistline, full hips, full rounded butt, shapely rounded legs and small feet. She is wearing a white button-up shirt, under a pink long-sleeve sweater, a yellow apron, a blue skirt that stops above her knees and white slippers. He then greets the woman with the smile still on his face. "Good morning, Mom." The woman turns around and smiles when she sees the teen boy. "Good morning, Izuku-kun. Did you have a good sleep?" Izuku nods his head as he walks into the kitchen, stopping next to her. "I did." He then reaches up with his right hand and opens a cabinet. He reaches in with his left hand and pulls out an energy bar and then closes the cabinet. Well, I better get going, I don't want to be late for school. His mom then gives him a apologetic look. I'm sorry, I woke up kind of late today. I'll make up for breakfast with your favorite for dinner tonight, okay Izuku-kun. Izuku looks at her with a smile and shakes his head. It's alright mom, don't worry about it. He then leans in and kisses her on her left cheek. Bye mom. I'll see you after school. He then starts to walk to the front door. She gives him a smile and waves to him with her right hand. Okay, have a good day at school sweetie. Izuku gives her a smile and waves back, with his right hand. He opens the door with his left and walks out of the apartment, while closing the door behind him. The woman loses her smile as soon as the door closes and looks down sadly. Izuku, even now you keep smiling. Even without a quirk, you haven't given up on your dream, have you? Tears then start to run down her face, as she remembers what happened a few years ago. Flashback, 9 years ago. Inside of a doctor's office. A now 5-year-old Izuku, wearing a red t-shirt, blue shorts and white sneakers, is sitting in a chair next to his mother. He is holding an action figure of a few muscular blonde superhero in his left hand. She is wearing similar clothes, just without the apron. She also has a much slimmer body shape with slimmer arms, slim waistline, curvy hips, curvy peach and slimmer legs. They are sitting in front of a male doctor who is sitting in his turnaround chair. He is bold and has a thick tan mustache. He is wearing a white doctor's coat, a gray button-up shirt under it, black tie, gray pants, brown shoes and bronze-framed glasses with green lenses. Izuku has a big smile on his face, as he looks up at the doctor. He had finished taking some tests a while ago to see if he has a quirk. The doctor looks over at Izuku and has some boredom in his voice. Sorry kid, but you don't or will ever have a quirk. Izuku's eyes widen in shock even though the big smile stays on his face. The hold on the action figure in his hand loosens. It falls out of his hand and hits the ground with a light thud. His mother looks at the doctor in worry. Wait. Are you saying something is wrong? I know that most kids his age start to show signs of their quirks. But are you sure he's not just a late bloomer? The doctor then looks over at her. Ms. Midoriya, you're a 4th-generation quirk user in your family, correct? She gives him a nod. He then continues. What powers do you and the boy's father have? Ms. Midoriya looks down sadly and raises her left hand a little. Well, I can float small objects towards me. While she's talking she curls her fingers, making the action figure move off the ground and slowly float through the air into her hand. And my husband could breathe fire. He passed away a few months ago. She then looks back up at the doctor. But what does that have to do with my Izuku? The doctor nods his head. First, I'm sorry that I brought that up. And as for Izuku here, he should have one of you two's quirks, or some form of combination of the two. You see, we don't know how people started to develop quirks. But we do know that those with quirks do all have something in common. People with quirks have evolved so that they have only one joint in their pinky toes. He then stands up and points to an X-ray of Izuku's left foot. It's hanging on a whiteboard. Unfortunately, as you can see, Izuku has 2 joints. So the likelihood of him developing a quirk is pretty much 0. He then looks back down at Izuku. I'm sorry kid, but that's how it is. Back in the apartment they live in. Some time later. Night has fallen and it has started to rain outside. Izuku is sitting in a chair inside of his room and watching an old news report on his computer. Ms. Midoriya looks sadly at her son, who hasn't said anything since they got home. A male voice filled with shock and disbelief coming from the computer then fills the room. Who is this guy? It hasn't even been 10 minutes yet, and he has already saved 100 people. A new louder male voice is then heard laughing. Ha 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 ha. The first male voice is then heard again. Holy. He's got more. The loud male voice is then heard again. Fear not, citizens, help has arrived. Because I am here. Izuku then addressed his mother with some sadness in his voice. You see that, Mom? He's always smiling. No matter how dangerous the problem is, he never stops smiling. He then turns the chair around and looks up at his mother. Even though he has a small smile on his face, tears are running from his eyes and he points with his right index finger with his shaking hand at the computer screen. Do you think that I can be a hero too? Ms. Midoriya can't help but cry as well and then run up to him, while falling down onto her knees to hug him tightly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh Izuku-kun, I wish that things were different. Izuku just looks ahead blankly as his tears continue to fall. Hearing that from his mother was the last thing he was hoping to hear. Flashback end, present time. Ms. Midoriya covers her face as she continues to cry. I'm so sorry, Izuku. I should be the one that supported you the most. Instead, all I did was give up on your dream. You need my support, and I didn't even give it to you. She then lifts her head up and takes some calming breaths. No. I can't just keep crying for what I did to Izuku. I got to make it up to him. She looks down as she bites her bottom lip, as the last of her tears fall. I just got to think of what to say to him. Come on Inko, think. She then looks up in realization. That's it. It's not what he wants, but he can be a kind of hero. I just hope that it shows that I am sorry for giving up on him. And that I will never do it again. Dakota Second City, Japan. Inside of a 2-story building. 7:15 in the morning. Inside of a bathroom, a 15-year-old boy stands in front of a mirror while looking at his reflection with a smirk. The teen stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall with brown skin, black hair and short dreadlocks, dark brown eyes and full lips. He has a fit body shape with fit arms, big hands, slim fingers, fit waistline, narrow hips, slim butt, fit legs and big feet. He is wearing maroon pants and white sneakers. He gives his reflection one more nod as he crosses his arms over his chest. How can the girls resist me? A female voice is then heard to his right. If I had to guess, I'd say very easily. He turns his head in that direction and sees a frowning teen girl. The 18-year-old girl stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall with brown skin, brown hair tied into 2 pigtails at the back of her head, dark brown eyes and full lips with red lipstick. She has a slim body shape with slim arms, small hands, big C-cup melons, slim waistline, full rounded hips, full rounded butt, shapely legs and small feet. She is wearing a tight, sleeveless white shirt, tight green pants, brown 1-inch heeled shoes and white hoop earrings. She puts her hands on her rounded hips as she continues to frown at him. Now hurry up, Virgil. Breakfast is ready, and if you let yours go to waste, then you can cook your own meals from now on. She turns around and then walks down the hallway. Virgil frowns and raises his right hand to the side of his face. Hey Sharon. Aren't you forgetting your dog collar? Woof. Woof. He then rolls his eyes. Sisters. 2 minutes later. Virgil then walks out of his room, now wearing a yellow button-up shirt with orange on the short sleeves. He also has a blue backpack on his back. He then closes his door behind him and rushes downstairs. I better hurry, or Sharon will be all up in my face again. As soon as Virgil got to the bottom of the stairs and was turning to the dining room, he slammed into a tall man and fall backwards, landing on his butt. The 43-year-old man stands 6 feet, 1 inch tall with brown skin, short black hair in a box cut, dark brown eyes, black mustache and full lips. He has a rounded body shape with big arms, big hands, thick fingers, fat waistline, narrow hips, rounded butt, thick legs and big feet. He is wearing a light blue button-up shirt, gray tie, gray pants, black belt, glasses and brown shoes. The man offers Virgil his right hand and pulls him up after he takes it. Sorry about that, son. But you're not the only one in a rush today. Virgil looks up at his dad with a smile. It's cool, Pops. The two then walk down the hall and into the kitchen. Sharon has her back to them as they enter. She is standing in front of the stove with a frying pan in her left hand. They take their seats at the table in the center of the room, where 3 white plates with forks next to them are set. Virgil rests his backpack on the floor and looks up with a smirk. I'm telling you, Pops. Today is the day that I sweep some lucky girl right off her feet. Sharon rolls her eyes as she turns around while holding the frying pan and a spatula in her right hand. Yeah, right, Romeo. She then puts some scrambled eggs from the pan into his plate. And one or both of us will suddenly develop a quirk. Virgil looks down at the scrambled eggs in his plate with a frown. What's this, egg smoothie? He then looks up at Sharon. Well, if you do get a quirk, hopefully it helps you with your cooking. Sharon was putting some of the scrambled eggs into their father's plate. She turns her head to the left and frowns at Virgil. I don't have to cook for you, you know. You can just make your own meals from now on. Their father shakes his head and then looks up at both of them. Now calm down, you two. And Virgil, stop bad-mouthing your sister's cooking. He then takes a bite and finches a little. He then continues to eat, but at a slow pace. Sharon then takes her seat at the table and looks at Virgil with a smirk. See, Daddy likes it. Virgil looks down at his plate with a grimace. Mom, if you can hear me, please get me out of this. A low buzzing then fills the kitchen. Sharon then pulls out her phone from her right pocket. A smile forms on her face as she sees the number. If you two will excuses me. She then gets up and answers it as she walks out of the room. Hello. Yes, this is Ms. Hawkins. Their dad then stands up and secretly pours the rest of his breakfast down the kitchen sink. Well, I better get going or I'm going to be late. Have a good day at school, son. He then walks out of the kitchen as well. Virgil gives his dad a smile. Later, Pops, he then looks down at the food with a smirk. He gets up and pours it down the sink too. He then looks up with a smile. Thanks, Mom. He picks up his backpack off of the floor, puts it on his back again and then walks out of the kitchen. Townsville, Japan. Inside of a 2-story building. 6:59 in the morning. Inside of a bedroom with light green walls, a green carpet, drawn green curtains over the window in the left side wall, a flat screen TV hanging on the wall next to the door, a bed with light green sheets against the back wall and a closed closet door next to it. On the bed a sleeping figure is underneath white covers. The only thing that can be seen is the top of their head, resting on a dark green pillow. Soon a loud knock, knock, knock from the door fills the room. The person on the bed lets out a groan and then a feminine voice is heard through the door. Buttercup. Come on, it's 7. Get up or you'll be late for breakfast. The person on the bed pushes the cover off of them and slowly gets up. The person can now be seen to be a 14-year-old girl. Buttercup stands 5 feet, 5 inches tall with peach skin, short black hair with a flip in the back and parted in the center of her forehead, green eyes and full lips. She has a fit body shape with fit arms, small hands, slim fingers, big B-cup melons, fit waistline, curvy hips, curvy butt, fit shapely legs and small feet. She is wearing a white t-shirt, green shorts and green socks. Buttercup lets out a yawn while stretching her arms out and arching her back. Another knock is heard and then the same feminine voice from earlier. Buttercup. You up yet? Buttercup rolls her eyes and then looks at the door. I'm up, I'm up. Take it easy, Blossom. The door is then opened and a 14-year-old girl walks into the room. Blossom stands 5 feet, 5 inches tall with peach skin, long orange hair in a ponytail that stops at her hips, tied with a large red bow, pink eyes and full lips. She has a fit body shape with slim arms, small hands, slim fingers, big B-cup melons, slim waistline, curvy hips, curvy butt, shapely legs and small feet. She is wearing a white button-up shirt, a long-sleeved red blazer over it, black skirt that stops just above her knees, white socks and black shoes. Buttercup has a light blush on her face as she looks at Blossom. She quickly looks away and walks up to her closet. Blossom raises her right eyebrow and tilts her head to the right. Buttercup, are you okay? Buttercup opens her closet with her left hand and reaches in with her right. She pulls out a green towel and rests it over her right shoulder. She then turns around and looks at Blossom. Of course I'm okay. Why wouldn't I be, Bloss? Blossom shakes her head and then gives Buttercup a smile. Never mind, it's nothing. She turns around and then looks over her left shoulder back at Buttercup. I'm going to go help the professor with breakfast. I'll see you downstairs, Buttercup. She then walks out of the room. Buttercup can't help but look down and watch the slight sway to Blossom's hips. She shakes her head and looks down with a glare. DMN it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Stop thinking that about her. About all of them. She then walks out of her room. As soon as she exits her room, she hears a different feminine voice cry out. Good morning, Buttercup. She then feels someone slam into her and their arms wrap around her in a hug. She stumbles a little bit and then looks down at the 14-year-old girl that's hugging her. Good morning, Bubbles. Bubbles stands 5 feet, 5 inches tall with peach skin, blonde hair tied in 2 pigtails, blue eyes and full lips. She has a slim body shape with slim arms, small hands, slim fingers, small C-cup melons, slim waistline, curvy hips, curvy butt, shapely legs and small feet. She is wearing a light blue sleeping gown that stops halfway down her thighs. She also is holding a blue towel in her left hand. Bubbles lets go of Buttercup and looks at her with a big smile. How are you today, Buttercup? Buttercup puts her left hand on her curvy hip with her eyes closed. I'm good, but Bubbles. She then opens her eyes and looks at Bubbles. Her eyes focus on Bubbles' chest for only a second, before she looks away with a slightly darker blush on her face. Do you have to be so clingy all the time? Bubbles looks at Buttercup with a pout. But Buttercup, you know that I give everyone in our family a hug in the morning. And you and the professor were the only ones that I've hadn't hugged yet. Buttercup lets out a sigh and wraps her right arm around Bubbles in a one-armed hug. This makes Bubbles smile again and the two of them then walk down the hallway to the bathrooms. When they get to the 2 doors, one on either side. The one on the left opens up and a 15-year-old girl walks out. The teen girl stands 5 feet, 8 inches tall with peach skin, short brown hair tied in a short high ponytail on top of her head, purple eyes and full lips. She has a fit body shape with strong arms, small hands, slim fingers, big C-cup melons, fit waistline, curvy hips, curvy butt, strong shapely legs and small feet. She has a purple towel wrapped around herself. It shows a bit of her cleavage and stops halfway down her thighs. She looks at the two and smiles seeing them. Good morning, Buttercup. The shower is all yours, Bubbles. Bubbles then quickly walks into the bathroom. Thanks, Bunny. She then closes the door behind her. Buttercup couldn't help but stare at Bunny. She lightly gulps and once again blushes darkly. Bunny then looks back at Buttercup and her smile changes into a worried frown. Buttercup. Are you alright? Buttercup shakes her head and gives Bunny a nervous smile. Oh, I'm okay. You don't have to worry about me, Bunny. She then moves quickly over to the other bathroom door. She doesn't see it open as she reaches out for the doorknob. She stumbles and slams into another 15-year-old girl, making them both fall onto the white tiled floor. This teen girl stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall with brown skin, long black hair that stops at her hips, gray eyes and full lips. She has a fit body shape with slim arms, small hands, slim fingers, big C-cup melons, slim waistline, curvy hips, curvy butt, shapely legs and small feet. She has a gray towel wrapped around herself. It shows a lot of her cleavage and stops just below her hips. The teen girl landed on her back with Buttercup on top of her. Buttercup is straddling her hips and her head is in between her melons. The teen girl rubs the back of her head with her right hand. Ouch. She then looks down at Buttercup with a small glare. DMN it Buttercup. What the hell is the rush about? Buttercup puts her hands on the ground and pushes herself up, making the teen girl's melons lightly bounce as she sits on her lap. Sorry about that, Bliss. She stops herself as she looks down and sees where she is sitting. Her whole face blushes red and she feels steam coming out of her ears. She quickly gets up, pulls Bliss to her feet and lightly pushes her out the door. Sorry Bliss, but I got to get ready for breakfast. She then quickly closes the door behind her. Bliss and Bunny both just stare at door with wide blinking eyes. Bliss then looks over at Bunny, who just shrugs her shoulders. The two then walk down the hallway to their bedrooms. 20 minutes later. Buttercup comes out of her room and is now wearing the same uniform as Blossom. She also has a green backpack on her back. She lets out a sigh as she closes her door. Ugh. What the hell is wrong with me? We all don't share the same BLD, but I doubt that any of them will see me than anything but a sister. So why can't I DMN it? Why the hell did they all have to be so appealing and CC? She then takes a calming breath and looks ahead determinedly. Well, come on me. Time to get through another day. She then walks down the hallway, then down the stairs and heads to the kitchen. When Buttercup entered the kitchen, she sees all of her sisters now all wearing the same uniforms. Blossom and Bubbles are cooking breakfast. Bliss is making lunch boxes and Bunny is setting the table. Buttercup looks around the room and then back to her sisters with her right eyebrow raised. Hey, where is the professor? Bunny looks up at Buttercup. He's in his lab. Buttercup, would you go call him please? Buttercup nods her head and turns around. Sure thing. She then walks through the living room and up to the door to the basement. A intercom is the wall next to the door. She raises her right hand and pushes a red button with her index finger. Hey professor. Come on up, breakfast is almost ready. 4 minutes earlier. Inside of his own personal lab in the basement. The professor stands in front of the stairs that lead up to the rest of the house. The professor stands 5 feet, 9 inches tall with peach skin, short black hair, black eyes and thin lips. He has a slim body shape with slim arms, big hands, slim fingers, fit waistline, narrow hips, slim butt, slim legs and big feet. He is wearing a white button-up shirt, black tie, white lab coat over them, black pants and black shoes. He looks around his lab with a frown. His lab has been completely ransacked. Papers have been thrown everywhere. Different sized glass beakers are shattered and glass is everywhere. Different colored puddles are on the floor and a desk has been pushed over. He looks over at the right wall, seeing that the large black safe that's built into the wall, is now wide open and empty. He then looks over to the left to an open glass door and a large window looking into a room. Inside of it is a single bed, a desk, a box full of toys and a toilet near the back right corner. The professor then reaches into his right pants pocket and pulls out his cell phone. He taps the screen a few times with his thumb and then brings it up to his ear. Hey Naomasa, it's me. No. All of us are okay. But someone has broken into my lab. I don't know how, but they took Mojo. Chimpanzee, and yes, I don't know why, but that's not important right now. They took them. Chemical X, Chemical H and the truth about my girls. I know. Yes, you should tell him. I can meet both of you at Townsville Labs. Buttercup's voice is then heard through the intercom to the professor's left. Hey professor. Come on up, breakfast is almost ready. The professor moves the phone away from his ear, turns to the intercom, raises his left hand and presses the red button with his index finger. Thanks Buttercup. I'll be right up. Buttercup's voice then answers back. Okay, Dad. The professor then raises the phone back up to his ear. I got to go. I'll meet both of you in about an hour. Yes, you're right. I'll tell them the truth after they finish with school today. He then hung up and put the phone back into his pocket. He puts a smile on his face as he walks up the stairs. Please, just don't let them take the truth to heart. Unknown location somewhere in Japan. Abandoned 5-story building. 8 o'clock in the morning. Inside of a slightly darkened room are 5 people. 3 of them are men and the other 2 are women. One of the women, the leader of this group, sits at a desk in front of the other 4. One of men then talks to the leader. Well, we've put up the flyers, got the buses and got all of the rooms you wanted ready, boss. He then looks over at the other women in the group. But can you do what you said you can do? The woman looks over at the man. Of course I can. I just need the rest for it. She then looks at the other woman. But boss, are you sure that no heroes will show up? All 4 look over at their leader. The leader answers her back. Don't worry. I've got it covered. You all will get your pay after my fun. Plus the extra people that I don't need, you 4 can do whatever you want with them. She then leans forward a bit and some light shows the bottom half of her face. Full lips with pink lipstick form into a smirk. I only really need about 20 or so anyway. A street in Mofutafu. 7:15 in the morning. Izuku is walking to school while looking down sadly. Well, just another ordinary day. Hopefully Katsuki will just leave me alone today. Though I do feel sorry for whoever he does focus on to. He then frowns lightly. Ever since he got his quirk, he's changed into a complete jack. Someone help me. Izuku's eyes widen and he looks across the street to where the male-sounding scream came from. His eyes fill with fear and he has to look up at the very tall figure standing there. How the hell didn't I see him? On the sidewalk across the street, looming over a man with short black hair, wearing a business suit and is sitting on the ground while looking up in fear. Is a few tall man that is looking down at the other one in anger. The very tall man stands 33 feet, 3 inches tall with peach skin, brown hair and dreadlocks, a horse-shaped head, beady black eyes, thin lips and a small tan beard. He has a muscular body shape with muscular arms, big hands, large fingers, a muscular chest, fit waistline, narrow hips, fit butt, muscular legs and big feet. He is wearing an open black vest and blue jeans. The giant man cracks his knuckles as he glares down at the man on the ground. I'm sorry, but didn't I tell you to give me all of your money? Izuku looks around at the crowd of frightened people. Most were just looking on in fear, pulling out their phones to record, call the police or just turning around and quickly walking away. The giant raises his left fist above his head while looking down with murderous rage. F it. I'll just crash your brains out on the pavement and take whatever I find on you. The man on the ground covers his face with his arms and closes his eyes tightly. Someone help me. The giant smirks as he was about to bring down his fist, when something slams into his right eye. Aw. SHT. Crash, the sound of glass shattering is heard as he puts his right hand over his injured eye and closes the other. After a few seconds he removes his hand from his eye and opens them. He blinks his now red eye and looks down, the man he was about to kill is gone and there is now broken green glass from a beer bottle to his right. He grits his teeth and then looks around hatefully. He sees all the people that are still standing around, looking on in shock at a teen with dark green hair and his right arm extended, standing next to a trash bin. Izuku is looking up at his right trembling arm with wide, fear-filled eyes. I just saw the bottle and didn't even think about it. I just had to stop that guy from killing that man. But what the hell do I do now? His eyes fill with more fear and his arm drops to his side as a shadow falls over him. OSHT. The giant glares down at Izuku as his fists tighten at his sides. Why the hell are you sticking your nose into my business, you little SHT? He doesn't even wait for an answer as he grabs him in his right hand, picks him up off of the ground and then looks around. He looks up and sees a overpass for a bullet train. People move out of the way as they watch the giant with the teen boy in his hand, walk up to the overpass, grabs the edge with his left hand and pulls himself up with a jump onto it. A woman with peach skin, long rainbow-colored hair, red eyes and full lips with red lipstick, looks up at the giant in horror. Oh dear God! Where are any of the heroes? Isn't anyone going to save that poor boy? A man with brown skin, short dark red hair and gray eyes, looks around angry. DMN it. I called the cops. Where the hell are they? A man with tan peach skin, bold head and 3 black eyes, one in the center of his head, looks over at the brown-skinned man like he had lost it. The cops. What the hell are they supposed to do? None of them are going to have a quirk that can stop that guy. A woman with dark brown skin, blonde hair tied in a long ponytail, dark blue eyes and full lips with white lipstick, shakes her head as she crosses her arms over her big D-cup BRST. What was that kid thinking? She then looks up at the giant with a frown. He should have known better than to PSS off a monster like that. He should have left stopping that guy to the heroes. A few people that heard her, nod their head in agreement as they continue to watch on. Izuku was struggling as he tried to get out of the giant's hand. He stops as he feels the giant lifting the hand he's in up, so they are face to face. The giant grits his teeth as he glares into Izuku's eyes. So you want to play hero, you little SHT. Well, I'm going to show you what happens when you do. I think I'll start with the arm you used to throw the bottle in my DMNI. Izuku's whole body trembles as his eyes widen in horror, watching the giant's left hand come closer to him to rip his right arm off. A few people that are watching close their eyes or turn away. Then from behind Izuku, a male voice and an odd wooden sound is heard. Not today you won't. The giant looks up just as an extend right hand wooden fist, punches him HRD on the nose with a loud, bam, ah. The giant cries out as he steps back and drops Izuku to hold his nose with both hands. Izuku's fear-filled eyes blink in confusion as he starts to fall. He stops in midair with a JRK as someone grabs his backpack that's still on his back. He then feels himself being pulled backwards through the air a bit quickly. He soon comes to a stop and is then put down on top of the bullet train station, that he now is sitting on. From his right he hears the same male voice again. Sorry I took so long. Are you okay, kid? Izuku turns to the right and looks up. His mouth drops open and his eyes sparkle as he sees the superhero standing next to me. Holy! A smile then forms on his face. You're the pro hero. Kamui Woods. Kamui Woods stands 5 feet, 6 inches tall with a wooden helmet and mask covering his face, only his brown eyes can be seen. He has a fit body shape with fit arms, big hands, slim fingers, fit waistline, narrow hips, fit butt, fit legs and big feet. He is wearing a black bodysuit that shows off the muscles on his chest and stomach. He is also wearing wooden boots, long gloves and a belt with a small rose veil hanging on the left side. Kamui Woods gives Izuku a thumbs up with his left hand as he nods. That's me. It's nice to meet a fan of mine. He lowers his arm and looks back at the giant with a glare. Now get behind me, kid. I got this. The giant glares hatefully at Kamui Woods, with his right eye still red and his hands tighten into fist. DMN it, you overgrown toothpick. That F hurt. I'm going to enjoy snapping you in half. Kamui Woods bends at the knees and pulls his right arm back. We'll see about that. Lack. Canyon Cannon. Kamui Woods is cut off by a feminine cry and then a giant woman, twice the size of the male giant, comes in with a flying right kick to the other giant. She hits him on the right side of his face, sending him over the other side of the overpass. He slams onto the street, bounces once, slides down the road a few feet, before coming to a stop and showing that he has fallen unconscious. Kamui Woods looks on in shock as his arms hang at his side. She just stole my thunder. Izuku's eyes are also wide in shock, but he also has a blush on his cheeks. Who is she? I've never seen her before. The giant woman stands 67 feet, 7 inches tall with peach skin, long blonde hair that stops at her waist, 2 bangs that frame her face that curl at the ends, purple eyes and full lips. She has a slim body shape with slim arms, small hands, slim fingers, big C-cup melons, slim waistline, curvy hips, curvy butt, shapely legs and small feet. When normal she is wearing a skin-tight cream bodysuit, a skin-tight purple sleeveless top that stops a little bit past her BRST with a high collar, orange lining the edges, 3 orange diamonds printed near the bottom, long purple gloves with orange lining the cuffs, thigh-high V-cut purple boot-like shoes that are skin-tight as well with orange lining the V-cut and a purple mask with wide eye holes and purple horns at the sides of her head that stick straight up and are curved. The giant woman lands on the other side of the overpass with her hands on her curvy hips and looks over her left shoulder at all the people watching. Don't worry everyone. She then winks her left eye. I'm empty lady, and I'm not going to let anyone get hurt while I'm around. The people that are watching in shock, then start to cheer as most of the men and even few of the women have hearts in their eyes as they look at empty lady up and down. It is not too long before they start to take pictures with their phones and some news reporters and the police start to show up. After a few minutes, the cops now have the now awake giant, that has shrunk down to about 8 feet tall, with a green metal restraint around his chest that pinned down his arms. It also has 4 ropes attached to it, all in the hands of 4 different officers. They also have his hands cuffed behind his back and a metal muscle strapped around his head. As the cops put the giant in a police van, the 2 heroes, with empty lady now standing 5 feet, 4 inches tall, are being interviewed by some reporters. Izuku had just finished thanking Kamui Woods for saving him again and is now walking up to empty lady. I know that Kamui Woods had it, but she helped out too. A blush then forms on his cheeks. So I should definitely thank her as well. A woman reporter that's as tall as empty lady with peach skin, brown hair, brown eyes, full lips with pink lipstick, a body like empty lady and wearing a dark blue suit with heels, sees Izuku and walks right up to him. Excuse me young man. Izuku looks at the reporter with the blush still on his face. Yes. The reporter puts the mic that is in her right hand, closer to Izuku. Are you the one who stepped in first to save someone from the giant villain? Izuku nods his head and rubs his left arm. Well, yes. I had to. That guy needed help. The reporter then lightly frowns and puts the mic closer to herself. But I've been told that you didn't use your quirk at all. Why would you do something so dangerous without using your quirk? She then puts the mic back at Izuku. Empty lady hears what the reporter said and looks over at them. Wait, that young guy took on that villain by himself? Izuku lets out a sad sigh as he looks away from the reporter and then looks back at her. Ugh. I don't have a quirk. He then sadly looks away from her again. I'm quirkless. Empty lady's eyes widen in surprise, while in the inside she has a big smile on her face. Hello golden opportunity. And it helps that he's a little cutie too. The reporter looks at Izuku in complete shock. You took on a villain and you're quirkless. She then raises her right eyebrow. Are you CRA? Empty lady wraps her left arm around Izuku with her hand on his left shoulder. She cuts the reporter off and looks into the camera behind her with a smile as she pulls Izuku, whose whole face is blushing red, closer to her body. I know right? This young man is incredible. Izuku looks up slightly at the lady in surprise with the blush down to just pink on his cheeks. She called me incredible. Empty lady then looks at Izuku with the smile still on her face. I mean, you put your life on the line to save somebody you didn't even know. Plus you don't have a quirk. She then looks back at the reporter, more so the camera. Sounds like this guy is pretty brave to me. She then winks her left eye at the camera. Don't you agree? In the inside she is smirking. I love this kid. You can't buy publicity like this. My first day as a pro heroine, and I save a quirkless teen who had saved someone. Thank you. After a few minutes when the interview came to an end and Empty Lady, Izuku and Kamui Woods finished getting their pictures taken. Izuku blushed in embarrassment in every one, especially the ones with him and Empty Lady. He shook Kamui Woods' right hand. Thank you again, Kamui Woods. It was great to meet you. Kamui Woods nods his head. And it's nice meeting you too, Izuku. He then crosses his arms over his chest while glaring lightly. But what you did was very dangerous. Next time just wait for a pro hero to show up. Empty Lady puts her hands on her hips and looks at Kamui Woods with a slight frown with her right eyebrow raised. But if he didn't do anything like everybody else, then the guy he saved would have been nothing more than street pizza. Kamui Woods looks at Empty Lady with a deadpan look. Yeah, but he wouldn't be any better if we didn't show up, though I had it covered. He then turns around and stretches out his right arm to grab the top of a building. He looks over his left shoulder and raises his left hand. Well anyway, I'll see you two later. He then pulls himself up onto the top of the building and then he jumps from building to building. After watching Kamui Woods disappear, Izuku then looks at Empty Lady with a smile and a blush. Thank you again to Empty Lady. But I have to go or I'll be more late than I already am. Empty Lady gives him a small smile back. Oh, what the hell. The little cutie here did give me some good publicity. So I can give him a little reward. Hey Izuku, my car is close by. Why not let me give you a lift to school? Izuku waves his hands, smiles nervously and his blush darkens. Wait, you don't have to do that, Empty Lady. He cuts himself off as she leans in closer and kisses him on the left cheek. Empty Lady pulls back and smirks as she sees Izuku's whole face blushing red. Come on, my car is this way. She then walks past him with a little extra sway to her hips. Izuku's eyes widen as he looks at the sway of Empty Lady's hips, before he quickly looks away with his whole face blushing red and follows her down the sidewalk to her car. But what everyone didn't notice, is a woman that never took her eyes off of Izuku. A smirk on her full lips with pink lipstick. Well, aren't you something special? I didn't think anyone else would perk my interest like that fool's 5 girls do. Her smirk then grows. No, you, Izukumidoriya, interest me even more. I want to see what path you will take after I'm done. All I've got to do is make sure you're there like the girls. The woman then walks down the sidewalk in the same direction as Izuku and Empty Lady. On a sidewalk in Dakota's second city. 7:18 in the morning. Virgil is walking down the sidewalk as he eats a piece of breakfast bar, that he is holding in his right hand. He stops at a street corner to take another bite. Thank God that convenience store is so close to my house. Before Virgil can take the bite, a slim young woman jumps up on his back. She lightly pushes his face to the left with her left cheek and takes a bite out of the breakfast bar. He blushes as he looks at her out of the corner of his eye. Teresa. She gets off of his back and he turns around to look at her with a smile. Hey, what's up, girl? You know, if you are hungry I could have bought one for you. The 15-year-old Teresa stands 5 feet, 5 inches tall with peach skin, long orange hair tied into a high ponytail that stops at the top of her neck, black eyes and full lips with purple lipstick. She has a slim body shape with slim arms, small hands, slim fingers, big B-cup melons, slim waistline, curvy hips, curvy butt, shapely legs and small feet. She is wearing a sleeveless violet shirt that shows off her midriff, purple jeans that stop halfway down her calves, brown belt, slip-on white shoes and white hoop earrings. She also has the strap of a purple bag over her left shoulder. Teresa looks at Virgil with a smirk and her right hand on her hip. Nah, I'm going. That little bite is all I need for now. Her smirk then becomes a concerned smile. But how are you doing today? You okay, Virgil? Virgil gives Teresa a small smile and a nod. Yeah, thanks. The day my mom, well you know, it was a few days ago. But let's not talk about that. His smile then widens. Hey, want to walk to school together? Teresa gives Virgil a nervous smile as she reaches into her bag with her right hand. Yeah, of course, but can you do me a big favor? Virgil looks at Teresa with his right eyebrow raised. Yeah, as long as we are not too late. What do you need? Teresa lets out a sigh and looks at Virgil sadly. Ugh. Look, I know this is the last thing that I should even ask you, but I need you to hold on to this. She then pulls out a small paper bag and hands it to him. Then after we get into school, all you have to do is give it to Ivan. Virgil cuts Teresa off as he looks at her in shock. Wait. Ivan got out. When did he? He takes the bag and was just about to open it. What's in this bag? But he stops when she puts her hands on his. Teresa looks at Virgil seriously. Don't look in the bag. Just do this for me please. Put it in your backpack and let's go. They wouldn't check your bag. Virgil looks at Teresa with a frown, then looks down at the bag as he opens it. His eyes widen in shock at what's inside of it, before he quickly closes it and looks back at her. Teresa. Why the hell do you have a G? Teresa puts her left finger on Virgil's lips to stop him and looks around. She sees a few people are looking at them, but they soon look away and go back to what they are doing. She then looks back at him with a frown. Are you crazy? Don't yell out what it is. And I told you not to look inside, didn't I? Virgil looks at Teresa seriously and puts his left hand on her right shoulder. Teresa, I don't care why you have this or why you're taking it to school. But let's find a cop to give this to and just say that we found it, okay? Teresa grabs Virgil's shirt with both hands and shakes her head as she looks into his eyes. We can't. It's not mine, it's Ivan's. She lets him go and takes a step back as he looks at her with his right eyebrow raised. Look, I was there just before the cops got Ivan. He gave that to me and I was able to get away. He called me last night and told me to bring it to him at school. Virgil's eyes soften and he gives her shoulder a soft squeeze. Teresa, you got to get out of this life, girl. What are you going to do if you're caught by the cops, or by a pro? Or what if Ivan crosses paths with a real villain? I don't want you to get hurt. Teresa gives Virgil a smile. Thanks. She then winks at him with her right eye. But I can take care of myself. She then looks at him seriously. But I will promise you, Virgil. This will be the last job I'll do with them. Then I can finally be able to leave home and... She then looks away with a glare and her hands tighten into fists. Get away from my mom. Virgil takes his hand off of Teresa's shoulder, lightly grabs her right hand and gives it a squeeze. Teresa. She looks back up at him and he then continues. You know that I have a spare room at my house, right? You can stay with me and my family for a few. Teresa lightly pulls her hand out of Virgil's grasp and puts both of them on her hips. I do not need or want any handouts, Virgil. I just need to do this last job and then I'm done. She then gives him a smirk. But, when I do get the money, I'll be more than happy to talk to about staying with you. If the price is right, that is. She then clasps her hands together and looks at him with a small smile. So will you please help me out here? Virgil looks at Teresa for a few seconds before letting out a sigh. Ah. Fine, put it in my backpack. But this is the last time you do this, right? Teresa gives Virgil a smile as she takes the bag back. Promise. She then walks behind him, unzips his backpack, puts the bag inside and zips it back up. She then grabs his right hand with her left and pulls him down the sidewalk. Well, come on. You don't want to be late, do you? Virgil looks down at the ground with a little frown. This has to be the worst thing I've ever agreed to. My pops is going to kill me. Dakota Second High School. 7:26 in the morning. Virgil and Teresa walk through the open gates to the 3-story high school. The male security guard that is standing by the entrance walks up to them when he sees them. The man stands 5 feet, 9 inches tall, has dark black skin, brown eyes, fit body shape and wearing security guard clothes. He stops in front of them and looks at Virgil with a smile. "Good morning, Virgil." Virgil gives him a smile back. "Hey Dav, what's up man?" They then fist bump with their left fists. Dav then puts his left hand on his waist. "I can't complain. The family doing good." He then points over his left shoulder with his thumb to the school. "You better get going though, you don't want to be late." As the two were about to walk to the entrance, he stops Teresa with his right hand, that he is holding a small metal detector in. "Now you hold on. I still have to check your bag." Teresa looks up at him with a frown. "Bite me butt." Dav looks at Teresa with his own frown while turning on the metal detector. "No thank you, I rather spend time with my wife." Virgil looks over his left shoulder at Teresa as he continues towards the entrance. "I meet you inside." After entering the school, someone puts their left arm over his left shoulder and he hears a male voice. "Hey Virgil, it's been a while." The 18-year-old stands 5'9" inches tall with brown skin, mostly shaved head with a few lines of black hair on top of his head, black eyes, and full lips. He has a fit body shape with muscular arms, big hands, slim fingers, fit waistline, narrow hips, fit butt, fit legs and big feet. He is wearing a black t-shirt, dark gray vest that he leaves open, black pants and white sneakers. Virgil turns his head to the right and looks at the person. "Hey Ivan, yeah it's been a while." Ivan lets go of Virgil and lets him turn around. "What's with the tone man? You sound like my bro." He then looks around seriously before looking back at him. "So Teresa told you I was out." He then reaches out with his right hand. "You got something that belongs to me, right?" Virgil lets out a sigh as he takes off his backpack. "Ah. Yeah, just give me a second." He then opens the backpack, pulls out the paper bag and hands it to Ivan. "Here Ivan, just know I'm not going to do this again." Ivan takes the bag and looks at Virgil with a smirk. "Come on man, don't be like that. In fact I'm going to let you be a part of the job. So what do you say Virgil? Want to make some extra cash?" Virgil shakes his head as he closes his backpack, puts it back on and looks at Ivan with a small frown. "Nah, I'm good man." Ivan then looks at Virgil with a frown of his own. "Suit yourself bro." He then puts his right arm around Virgil's right shoulder and pulls him a bit closer. "I can count on you not to say SHT right? To keep this to yourself?" He nods his head towards the door as Teresa walks in. "Because I'm not the only one that will go down if you ran your mouth." Virgil pulls out of Ivan's grasp and looks back at him. "Don't worry Ivan. I know." Ivan gives Virgil another smirk as he reaches into his pants right pocket. "Cool. But if you change your mind." He then pulls out a folded piece of paper and hands it to him. "This is the place we're going to hit. Best part, no pro will be anywhere near it." As soon as Virgil takes the paper from him, he walks past him and down the hallway. Later. Teresa walks up to Virgil, who is looking down at the paper in his right hand, and kisses his right cheek. "Thanks a lot Virgil." When he looks at her with a blush on his cheeks, she then continues. "I'm definitely talking to you Dad about the spare room after this." She then continues down the hallway. Virgil watches her go before looking back down at the paper in his hand. Once again, Pops is going to kill me. He then unfolds the paper and reads it to himself. Anyone can be a hero. Tired of feeling weak and helpless? Tired of waiting for a professional hero or heroine to show up to save you or someone you care about? Tired of feeling like a second-class citizen because you don't have a quirk? Well, if the answer is yes to any of those questions, then come to the printed address below and find out that even without a quirk, that you can be incredible. There is a $10 entry fee. Food and drink will be provided, but at an extra cost. If you do not have the means to get there, a bus will be in your area and will leave at 6 o'clock. A taxi will be provided to you at the end if one is needed. He then refolds the paper, puts it in his right pants pocket and walks to his homeroom class. Great, now I'm going to do something else stupid later today. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 2. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Many Dragon 5 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.